Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. As you can see, I'm in the garden this morning. It is early morning. The sun is coming out. It's not too hot yet, and I've been harvesting. I'm going to show you when I'm harvesting. I'm also going to take you into the garden as I resow some summer items and get ready for fall, because it's about that time. If you'd like to see what I'm doing in this messy garden, stay tuned. Here is a mess of onions that I pulled out of the garden late last night. It was getting dark, so I could not take you all along. Many of them are small, did not grow well, which I kind of anticipated. So I'm gonna let them dry out. I'm going to replant them, and we're going to use these as our starter onions for this new growing season. So here is a mess of onions that I'm going to be putting either in the freezer, dehydrating, or back in the garden. And pulling out my bush beans, they've all turned to dust. The corn as well, it did not do well. If you saw that last video, you know that I'm not the only one who had an issue with corn, so I'm not stressing over the corn. I haven't gotten to this pot yet. This had corn and runner beans. I haven't gotten to it, but as you can see, it was a loss for me. And you know what? That's what happens sometimes. So I'm going to be cleaning up these two pots. I'm not going to show you me cleaning up these two pots, but I am going to clean them up. I do have some runner beans, one or two that are alive. I have a cutter bee that has been in the garden, and it has been taking advantage of my leaves. If you can see that leaf right there, I'm going to take that one off because it's not looking so great. But that leaf and many other leaves have been subjected to the cutter bee, and so I'm going to try to take this corn off and see if I have any seeds to save. But other than that, I've just been cleaning up the garden and doing a little harvesting. So that's what's happening in this nice cool garden this morning. Here, my plants have gotten some sun scald, which is why I've been trying to cover everything up. That's why the garden has succumbed to the elements, because it's just been too hot. But that's okay. I'm gonna start on this little squash seed. Decided to germinate, so look at there. I may have squash because this plant only gave me 2 squash and they weren't that great. So squash. I pulled the onions out of this pot, and look what I found. I put asparagus seeds that I harvested off of my other asparagus plant, or off of my mature asparagus plant, and look, I've got asparagus babies. I'm gonna have asparagus. Yes. So I have a pot that I can actually harvest off of, and I have a pot that needs to grow for the next 2 to 3 years, and then I'll be able to harvest off of that. Can't wait. There are some walking onions. I'm going to be going through this pot, pulling those out, harvesting what I can to eat, and distributing them around the garden because I want as many onions in this garden as I can possibly have. Pot, I sowed carrot seeds a couple months back. I did put some walking onions in here, and as you can see, I have at least 1, actually 2 that have taken. There was 3 in here, but I guess the third one didn't take, so I'll put another one in. But as you can see, the garden is not all dead. Over here I used to have popcorn. I pulled it out last night. There are potatoes in here, so I'm gonna get into this pot now, and we're going to see how many potatoes I pull out of this pot. I hope you all can hear me. Excuse me, I don't have my microphone on this morning. I know there are potatoes in here because I saw some last night. So I am going to just dig around carefully and get them out. I'm also going to be taking out as much of the roots as I can. I don't want this container to be full of roots. It used to have some really nice fluffy soil when I first started, and the roots from the corn really took hold of this pot. So I'm just going to get some of these roots out. Now I have an old bucket off to my right. I'm going to be putting any rubbish that I feel I need to put in there. I'm not going to take all these roots out. This is food for this pot. There's also, I don't know if you can see that, there are some old leaves in here. I did a hugelkultur method on this container before I potted it up. So hopefully next year this container will really thrive because I put lots of organic matter in the bottom of this container. Put that over there for right now. So I'm just going to go digging around. I'm going to speed this up. I don't want you all to have to watch this. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Before I go too far, look at here. Look at here. I am finding potatoes. That has a little bit of a hole in it, so that probably isn't going to be any good. Look at there. They're little, and I expected them to be little because the plants died off. They died off quickly. Put that up there like that. Have a little basket. They died off relatively quickly, so I didn't think I would have any potatoes. Like here's one that has begun to rot. I have been trying to water the plant to keep it a little hydrated. This one also has begun to rot, so that's going to go in the rubbish bin. This one still firm. I expect to find tiny potatoes, some that have begun to rot, and not a whole lot because the plants died off relatively quickly, and I let them stay in this container only because I had corn that was growing. I didn't want to disturb the corn. I wanted the corn to finish its life cycle, but I didn't get that chance. And so here we are, no corn, and we are getting some potatoes out of here. So let me get through here because, like I said, I have a hugelkultur method at the bottom. There might end up being some potatoes that stay in here. Look at that. I'm actually going to take some of this, I think I'm going to take some of this soil out versus just shifting it around. Actually take it out. That way I don't miss as many potatoes as I think I might miss if I don't. So let me speed this up and go digging around in this pot. The sun is coming out, so I don't have a lot of time left in the garden before it starts to really heat up. I've gone through here, as you saw, and I have picked out some of the organic matter, not all, but some. And I have taken it out. This is what I've harvested so far. Hope you all can see. It's not a lot, but it's enough. I will save the vast majority of these. I'm going to save some for planting back out. I'm going to put them in a little potato sack that I had gotten from when I purchased the blue Adirondack potatoes. I don't even remember where I got this white potato. It might have been a store-bought potato. But I'm going to put some of these back into that bag and let them sit and chit and get them ready for the next growing season, next year probably. So I'm going to put those off to the side, and I have mixed in my bucket some perlite, some vermiculite, some homemade bone meal, some coffee grounds, and I'm not sure what else I put in here, but I'm going to place that in this bucket and refertilize this bucket. Oh, I also put some Osmocote. I'm going to refertilize this bucket. I tried to get all of the potatoes out. There is a possibility that there are a couple of tiny, small little potatoes in here. That's what happens when you grow potatoes. Once a potato bed, always a potato bed, because you ultimately do miss a potato. And with the purple Adirondack potatoes, they're very hard to see, so it's easy to miss one or two. So I'm just going to mix this in. Again, this is perlite, vermiculite, Osmocote, coffee grounds, homemade bone meal, and I think I had a bone in here. I'm gonna leave that. I obviously didn't break that little piece down, but I'm gonna leave it. And I had some crab meal that I also put in here. I've got a couple of little pieces of bone out of that box that didn't break down, but I'm gonna leave those in here. I'm not gonna worry about it. So I'm just gonna mix this up, and then I'm gonna get this ready for replanting. I haven't decided what I'm gonna put in this container. I think I'm going to put in here some lima beans, because I haven't grown lima beans in a number of years. I do have some lima beans. I'm hoping that they're viable. I'm gonna soak them a little while and then get them in the garden. And the reason why I'm thinking about doing that is they are a bush variety. You can put bush beans in the garden right now in the month of July, because they are determinate. Bush beans are determinate. Like tomatoes, they'll grow, they'll give their fruit, and then they will die off. I've got some of the sticks from the bottom coming up. Let me put those all the way back down there. As I mentioned, I did do a hugelkultur method in this container. I am going to go inside and get some of my worm castings. I'm going to put that in here as well. I'm going to bury those bones all the way down to the bottom. And then I'm done for right now. And when I come back out, I'll bring you guys back out with me. Like I said, the sun is coming out. It's starting to warm up. I don't want to be out here for too much longer, because it's not good to be out here in 90, 100 plus degree weather. You can harm yourself. You can cause great damage. Heat stroke, all kinds of things. And I've been working too long for too many days in the garden when it's really hot, and I'm not going to do that today. It drains you and it can make you very sick, so I'm not doing that today. So what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to push some of those roots that I uncovered as I was tossing this around. I'm going to put those roots down in the bottom. I'm going to go get some of my worm castings and put that in here and fluff that in. I'm going to water this container right now. I'm going to water everything in. That's just coffee. And then I'm going to soak my lima beans and give them about an hour or two to soak, to kind of plump up. And once I see they're nice and plump, I'll come out and I will sow them. And I might bring you guys along with me. You all have seen me sowing beans before, so I'm not 100% certain I will do that, but we shall see. So that's what I'm doing in the garden today. I hope you all enjoyed this quick video. Just trying to get ready for another summer growing season, as well as, well, not another, but get ready for the summer growing season, getting my succession planting done. I'm trying to get my fall plants planted as well. I'm going to direct sow my fall plants. I'm hoping it's not going to be too hot. I'm going to try to put them under cover, but I am going to put my fall plants in. So let me get this done. The day has passed, the sun has gone down, and it is time to get my beans in the pot that I worked on this morning. This was the container that I had the popcorn, the strawberry popcorn, and the the potatoes in. And so these are these flies. I can't even come outside, y'all. These are the bush lima beans, and these are the bush fava beans, and they've been soaking in water, getting nice and plump. These have really plumped up, that they've taken away the vast majority of the water. So I'm going to get these in. I'm going to fill this entire pot with beans. I've already pre-soaked this pot. I fed it with some of my homemade fish fertilizer. I'm just going to go ahead and make some holes with my finger, just like so, and put these beans in. I have topped this pot with cedar wood chips, and I'm just going to take the beans and put them in. The cedar is very strong, y'all. My goodness, that's why I can't seem to talk now. But I'm just going to put the beans inside of the pre-made holes, and that's what I'm going to do to get this planted up. So let me speed this up so I can hurry up and get inside. I don't want to lose light. Okay, I have filled this pot completely full of lima beans. I have 3 left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place them somewhere else in the garden because I'm not going to waste it. And over in this pot, I'm going to go ahead on and put the fava beans. And I'm hoping beyond hope that this sheet will cover up these beans because these beans do not like the sun. They don't like the heat. So I'm crossing my fingers that they will not die on me like the ones I had in the garden in the spring. So let's get to planting some fava beans. I'm also going to put these last 3 little lima beans in here. I'm just going to put them on the corner. I hope you guys can see. If you can't see, don't worry. You just saw me plant lima beans. So this is just me planting the last 3 little lima beans. Just like that. And I'm going to take this little water and pour it over into the lima bean pot. Now I'm going to move my rock, put it on the ground. I'm going to move the mulch back, move that out the way. And I'm going to plant lima beans in here. Now, the only reason why I'm planting lima beans. The only reason why I'm planting beans in this container is this container has grown my cucamelons, cucumbers, and the bottle gourd. And so I want to be able to put some nitrogen back inside of the soil here. So I am putting these beans here to be able to do that because beans are nitrogen fixers. So I'm just placing this dark strip up. I'm hoping that's correct. That's how I did it the last time and they did just fine. And I'm placing it along the outer edge of this pot because I will be planting some more cucumbers and I want to make room for those. So I'm going to move down a little bit more. I'm just going to cover these up right quick, just like so. Just kicking a little soil over the top like I did in the other pot, pressing them down, moving the mulch back. Ooh, look, I got some corn on the corn tops in here. I'm just going to move the mulch back, just like so. Put the frog there. And I'm going to move this cucamelon back over that way. And I'm just going to make some space because I have about 4 more beans. So I'm going to make some space over here. Let's see if you all can see. You probably can't, so let me move. All right, what you see is a cantaloupe right here coming from the other pot. It's being really friendly, so I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to move the mulch back, make a few holes, and plant these last 4 little beans. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour this water out. I've already pre-moistened the soil in the other pot. This pot I watered last night, so it is slightly moistened. I'm not going to over moisten it. I am going to water in the morning. It does have a little bit of moisture in it. The soil is nice and rich looking, so I'm not going to water it in. I'm just going to cover that up. I hope you all can see what I'm doing, patting it over. And I think I could put this last one right here. So that's what I'll do. And there we go. And I'm sorry if you all can't see that, didn't see that. I'm right-handed, so I do apologize. Sometimes my hands get in the way. There we are. And then I'm just going to cover that up with the mulch like so. And just move that cucamelon back over like that. There we go. And I'm going to place the frog back in the center. And all I'm doing is just making sure that this mulch is not too heavy in more than one spot. Just trying to even it out. What I have noticed is this cedar mulch has indeed kept the soil moist. It's doing its job, and I'm loving it. So I'm going to take this sheet. I'm going to put the sheet back down over this pot. This is just a fitted sheet, and I'm just going to clip it along the front side here and call it a night. And I hope to see you all either in the kitchen or the garden real soon. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.